Welcome. I would like to welcome you to episode 286 of the Unpopular podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you would do me a favor, please subscribe to if you're listening. Please subscribe to if you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. When you know something is over, let me start like this. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is accept when something is over. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is wrap your brain around that one thing that I may have been superior in, that I may have been great at, I'm just not that anymore. And this whole season has been for lack of a better term, coming to Jesus moment, in my opinion, for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You see, coming into the season, Tom Brady was retired. And then, for 40 days and 40 nights, he was retired. Then he came out of retirement, and a lot of people thought that this was going to be a year where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, lost in the playoffs last year, thought was going to at least make it back to the Super Bowl. But very quickly, we're starting to realize a couple things. We're starting to realize that it seems like it is over. It is over for Tom Brady. It is over for this team, at least this season. It is over. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-22 on Thursday. And it's not just that the Ravens won. The Ravens are a good team. They're better. I don't know if the Ravens are a hard team to gear. I don't know if they're better than their record or they are as good as their record. And I mean that because two of those three losses, they were up double digits in the fourth quarter. I think actually maybe all three of those losses, they were up double digits in the in the fourth quarter, and ultimately lost. They lost. It was against the Dolphins. It was against the Bills, and I do not remember the other team. But it's not the fact that Tampa Bay lost this game at home, by the way. It's the fact of how they lost. Again, Lamar Jackson threw, 27 for 38, 238 yards passing, two passing touchdowns. Ran the ball, 9 carries for 43 yards. Going into this season, what was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers calling card? What was Todd Bowles' calling card? It was, this defense is supposed to be one of the best, if not the best defense coming into this league or in the league. You had Shaq Barrett, who it looks like he tore his ACL. I hope, for a speedy recovery. More than likely, that means he's out for the season. So you had Shaq Barrett. You have Devin White. You had Levante David. You had Villa. You had pieces. You have pieces. And again, I wish for a speedy recovery for Shaq Barrett. But on Thursday, this defense that is supposed to be their calling card, where the defensive head coach and Todd Bowles got destroyed on the ground in the second half. Gus Edwards has 65 yards rushing. Kenyon Drake had 62 yards. Like I said, Lamar Jackson had 32 or 43. Devin Duvernay had 33 with a touchdown. Justice Hill had 28. And Tom Brady, I've said this majority of the year. He looks old. he looks football old. He looks like, now, yes, I understand. Stats can lie. Let me not say that. Stats do not lie. Stats just don't tell the whole story. Because if you look at the stats, it should be like, damn, Tom Brady threw for 325 yards and a touchdown. It's pretty good. Leonard Fournette had 24 or nine carries for 24 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans had 6 receptions for 123 yards. Chris Godwin had 73 reception yards. When you look at that, it's good. It seems okay. He's good, but you have to watch the games to understand that Tom Brady did not play good at all yesterday or at all on Thursday. He was inaccurate. It felt like he was second guessing his decisions. There was about 2 or 3 balls that should have been intercepted, but they weren't. He underthrew a lot of people. He overthrew a lot of people. Tom Brady is 2 games under 500 from the first time in his career. And I don't see this getting any better. The defense isn't getting any better. Hell, you just lost Shaq Barrett. I don't see the offense getting better. Leonard Fournette hasn't really been good. But I don't know if that's as much as Leonard Fournette's fault or the fact that this offensive line really isn't that good. When you have any type of momentum, you get offensive line either has a holding call or there's a penalty that's on you. It's not good, man. Julio Jones looks like Jerry Rice did when he played for the Seahawks. One thing that they say about football is you have to be all in. You have to be all in or it's not going to work. This is a brutal sport, and this is a very time sensitive sport. And when you're contemplating and actually going through with a retirement and then coming back, you can tell, and everything that's going on in Tom Brady's personal life, you can tell that he's not all in. Now, he can say he's all in, but it's kind of hard being all in when you were just retired, sort of. And you're going through what you're going through at home. On top of all that, there's a lot of deficiencies wrong with this team. So I know Tom Brady, said that there's no retirement in his future, and I think before he said that, I thought this was going to be his last year. He has not played well in the slightest. Yeah, he racks up yards. I mean, again, 325 yards on paper. It's like, wow, that's really nice. He outthrew Lamar Jackson. But you can look on that. You can look at the tape. You can look or go rewatch the game. Lamar Jackson outplayed Tom Brady in every way, shape, or form. And Lamar Jackson lost his number 1 and 2 target in Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. Like I said, I thought going into the season that this was going to be his last year, especially seeing how he's been playing this year. But I'll say this. If he looks anywhere close to this next year, yeah, it's over with. It's over with. At least I would hope that it's over with because it's not working. And Father Time is undefeated. I know that when you look at LeBron James, you look at Tom Brady, it's like, I don't know. No, Father Time is undefeated. When it's time, it's time. And there's no way that you can look at what we're seeing from Tom Brady and think to yourself, he's still got 3 or 4 years left in him. Unless you're Skip Bayless, there's no way you can see that. He hasn't been good. Now, Thursday's loss wasn't all on him. Like I said, the defense wasn't good. The defense was terrible, especially in the second half. But offensively, the offensive line didn't help, but mainly the reason why they lost, at least offensively, was on Tom Brady. And let me switch gears to the Baltimore Ravens. Again, I rattled off Lamar Jackson's numbers: 27 for 38, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, one to the backup tight end, Isaiah Likely. Here, how do I approach this? Lamar Jackson is one of the best players one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think top 5. I think he's top 1 or 2 as far as the most unique quarterbacks in the league. But I fear that he has not done enough this year. Let me say my assumption. Let me say how I feel. I feel Lamar Jackson has done enough, more than enough, to get what he's asking for, to get the fully guaranteed, I think $250 million contract. I think he's done enough. The Baltimore Ravens are nothing without Lamar Jackson. We know this. I think the Baltimore Ravens know this. The system is Lamar Jackson. And if he's not having a good game, 9 times out of 10 they're losing. But going into the season, of course, they didn't get a deal done. He and the Baltimore Ravens didn't get the deal done. They offered him a deal, but they didn't offer them the deal that he was asking for. And I don't think, looking at the Ravens' perspective, I don't think he's done enough to get that contract. And Thursday's win kind of confirmed that to me. Because, again, Lamar Jackson is incredible, in my opinion. Lamar, like I said, he's a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. But I thought going into this season, with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson not signing a deal, I thought that he would need to go above and beyond to really cement himself or really convince the Baltimore Ravens that he should get that contract. And I think he's had a good year. Yes, he has not been good in the fourth quarters for a couple of these games, but he's been pretty. I mean, he has the Baltimore Ravens number 1 in the AFC North or NFC North or AFC North. I'm sorry. But Thursday kind of confirmed something to me. Thursdays when I felt to myself, this is the same old Lamar Jackson. Now, that's not bad. Trust me, again, that's not bad. I think he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But the same old Lamar Jackson didn't convince the Baltimore Ravens to get him that deal. Now, I don't know if he's going to end his career in Baltimore, but you put, the wins and how he looks in the wins compounded by what he looks in the fourth quarter at times, and I don't think he's done enough to convince the Ravens. I think everyone else thinks. I mean, if you ask the fan, the sign that he signed on Thursday, pay Lamar. Everybody feels Lamar should get paid, but the Ravens. But the Ravens, as far as get paid what he's asking for. I think Lamar Jackson needs to go above and beyond, and there's still time. Again, this is only week 8. And the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, a lot's going to have to go right, but they can. I think they are a Super Bowl caliber team because of Lamar Jackson. But Thursday didn't show me Thursday showed me, damn. I just kept thinking to myself, yep, that's the same old Lamar. And what we saw between the first half and the second half of that game, the first half, you can tell that they tried to throw the ball. Like, I want to prove that I can throw the ball. I want to prove, and he was doing a okay job. But they won the game in the second half because they went back to what they're used to, and that's pound the ball, run the ball, which opens the field out for Lamar Jackson. And I would love Lamar Jackson to finish his career in Baltimore. I mean, I'm from the Maryland D.C. area, so it's either the Washington Commanders or Baltimore Ravens. So, but I just keep getting same old. I just keep feeling when I watch the Ravens, that's the same old Lamar Jackson. Not saying that the same old Lamar Jackson is bad. It's great. But I just don't. It doesn't feel like he's done enough. He's made that push to be like, now you should pay me. And I'm speaking solely from the front office of the Baltimore Ravens, because I think he's well deserved to get paid. But if you're in the front office and you think to yourself, what has Lamar Jackson done differently than he's ever done? Nothing. He still wins games. He wins games the way he wins games. And, I don't know. That sounds crazy. Like, it sounds like I'm hating, and I'm not. I love Lamar Jackson. I think people disrespect the hell out of Lamar Jackson. And I want to see nothing more than somebody get paid, especially somebody as good as Lamar Jackson. But just looking from the standpoint of the organization, bro, just what I think could happen is you can go in at the end of the season. It's like, well, whether you win a Super Bowl or not. If you win a Super Bowl, that's completely different. That changes the whole thing. But if you don't win the Super Bowl or you don't get close to a Super Bowl, you go to the negotiation table and say, well, Lamar, what have you done that you have not done before? And what have you done differently that got us to a different point? You know what I mean? And I don't know. But with all that being said, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens for beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football 27-22. Let's move over to give my predictions for Week 8. And I'm going to start this with the biggest news that we got out of Thursday, right? And that was Jamar Chase, due to a hip injury, will be out 4 to 6 weeks. This is a huge blow for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I've come in here and touted how I believe that when they're firing on all cylinders, the Cincinnati Bengals offense is the best offense in football. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. That offensive firepower is, in my opinion, matched maybe to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I outside of Travis Kelce, I think there's not a wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they did just get Kadarius Toney, which we'll talk about in a second. I don't think that any of those wide receivers are better than Tyler Boyd. And he's like their third option pretty much. But losing Jamar Chase changes the dynamic of the Cincinnati Bengals. Meaning, it's not like you're losing. It doesn't matter how you feel about the Cincinnati Bengals. Losing your number one receiver is huge. I don't know a team that has lost their number one receiver mid-season and just hasn't lost a step. one of the biggest reasons why I said that the Cincinnati Bengals offense is one of the best is predicated on how good Jamar Chase is and how people are used around Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase opens up a dimension of the offense that a lot of teams don't have, and that is a legit number one receiver. Like, think about it. Who's the number one receiver for the Giants? And I'm not even taking shots. Who's the number one receiver for the Giants? Is it Darius Slayton? Who's the number one receiver for the Steelers? They have some decent receivers, but who's the number one? Is it Claypool? Is it Johnson? Who's the number one receiver for the Jets? Which they have some. Is it Mills? Is it Wilson? When you lose your number one receiver, especially mid-season, things have to change. Now, a person that may be good enough to be number one but hasn't experienced the number one level of attention now has to be number one, which is probably going to be T. Higgins. But it takes away a bullet out of the gun. And this is devastating for the Cincinnati Bengals. Even though they have two really good pieces still in Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, this offense is built around the connection between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Everything feeds off that. How good T. Higgins is feeds off the fact that he doesn't have to worry about double teams, or you can't double team him because of the fact that Jamar Chase is over there and Tyler Boyd is over there. Tyler Boyd is as successful as he is because you don't have to worry about Tyler Boyd as much because you're just waking up at night thinking, how do we stop Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? I think that this now, luckily, he'll probably be back before the playoffs or as the start of the playoffs, but this to me, I can come in here and say that I was wrong about the Cincinnati Bengals as far as they even though they're 4-3, that the last week's they looked like themselves last week, and I did want to see how they fare moving forward. But now, this is a domino effect. I think that this losing Jamar Chase now, the AFC North is the Ravens to lose. I thought the Ravens are going to win regardless, but now this is the Ravens division to lose, and I need to see how Zach Taylor and this offense adjusts to losing a player like that. It's going to be tough, and I think that this is devastating for this team. Again, and this is I don't want anybody getting hurt. Let me say that. I don't want anybody getting hurt. I don't wish for anybody getting hurt. I don't hope anybody gets hurt. That's crazy. But losing Jamar Chase is different than losing T. Higgins. It's different than losing Tyler Boyd. It's different than losing Joe Mixon. So Jamar Chase is one of the best wide receivers in the league. And now you're losing him for 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury. Not to mention that, it's a hip injury. And for a wide receiver who's shifty as he is, how is his movement and mobility going to be affected moving forward, So I pray for a speedy recovery, and yeah, man. But let's give my predictions about Sunday, or about the games on Sunday. At 9:30 in London, first game ever in London, you have the Broncos and Jaguars, first and foremost. Oh, man. So we've all heard about the high knees that Russell Wilson was doing. This week I figured it out. People have been saying it, but I've been in denial. But this week I can honestly say I understand. Russell, see, sometimes to be a good teammate, you just have to fit in. And that doesn't mean that you have to turn down yourself. That doesn't mean that you have to not be a good player. That doesn't mean that you have to conform to anything, but you just have to fit in. Sometimes you don't need to say how you feel. A lot of times you can't say how you feel. Sometimes you don't have to be the spotlight. Sometimes you just roll with the team. Especially when you're when you're on a new team. I know about integrating yourself to the new team, and you might do team dinners or buy the team or whatever, something. But it's very imperative when you are new to a situation and you're the most important player in this situation. And it just seems like Russell Wilson continuously puts himself above the fray with things that don't need to be said. Like, why are you telling me that you did high knees for 4 hours or you trained for 4 hours on a team plane when your team was asleep? Why is that information I need to know? Why is that information we need to know? Because you wanted to put it out there. Why did you want to put it out there? Because you thought it would make yourself look good, that you are Mr. Unlimited, or that you are all about getting back on the field. Bro, y'all are 2-5. And there's a good chance that y'all lose this game. Now, I'll say this. If they do lose this game against the Jaguars, I'm going to pick the Broncos because I just can't give. I cannot. It could happen, but Russell Wilson can't lose to the Jaguars. And the Jaguars have been okay this year, but you can't lose to the Jaguars, bro. But if they lose this game, trust and believe. What happens now if they lose this game is you're going to start seeing wholesales. You're going to start seeing the team has to get better for the future. So I think Nathaniel Hackett's going to be out of there. Probably Jerry Jeudy's going to be out of there. It's for a team that has so much promise. Week 9 could look drastically different than it did week 1 is crazy, and not in a good way. But I got the Broncos winning on Sunday. Again, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's, to me, which is crazy, that a Broncos-Jaguars game is a pick'em game. And the only reason why I'm picking the Broncos is because I still have a slimmer of hope that we're going to see a classic Russell Wilson, not classic, a Russell Wilson performance that we're used to seeing. I could be naive in that, but that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. So I have the Broncos winning that. Panthers at Falcons. I have the Falcons. I did like what P.J. Washington was doing, and his connection with DJ Moore and stuff. I got the Falcons. I trust Marcus Mariota, especially with his legs and stuff, more than I trust the Panthers. I think the Panthers were riding on a high, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not to mention whoever wins this game is the leader or is atop the NFC South, which is crazy. A team that is 2-5 and 3-4 currently. But I think that they were riding on a high, and I think Tampa Bay just isn't that good. The Falcons aren't that good either, but I got the Falcons. Bears at Cowboys. People keep saying that the Cowboys are on upset alert. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. The Cowboys defense is better than any unit that the Bears have. And the fact that the Bears just gave up gave up Robert Quinn, which we'll talk about when we get to the Eagles prediction. I don't see it. Yeah, Justin Fields probably had the best game he's had as a pro last week or on Monday Night Football against the Patriots, but I don't see I don't see that happening again, especially against this defense. So I have the Cowboys winning. Dolphins at Lions. I have the Dolphins. Tua is better than Jared Goff. I will say, even though they're 1-5, I do like what their offense, the Lions offense has looked like this year. Outside these last 2 weeks, and now if these last 2 weeks continue, like if they look on Sunday like they've looked these last 2 weeks, then I'll come in here and say I was drastically wrong, and I'm going to take back that. But I trust Tua more than I trust Jared Goff. So I have the Dolphins winning that. Cardinals at Vikings. I have the Vikings. The Vikings are a really good team. The Vikings are good defensively. They're good offensively. They have Justin Jefferson. They have Adam Thielen. They have Dalvin Cook. And it's not a primetime game, so you have Kirk Cousins. The Cardinals are not good, man. The Cardinals are not good. I am interested to see what Robbie Anderson looks like on this team, but I have the Vikings winning, and it's going to be in Minnesota. Yeah, I have the Vikings. Raiders at Saints. I have the Raiders just because Andy Dalton's starting. I don't know. Maybe they said that Jameis Winston's healthy, but Andy Dalton's still going to get the start. Maybe they're just trying to ease him in. But I have the Raiders winning. The connection between Derek Carr and Devontae Adams at least looked better last week than it's had most of the season. So hopefully they're getting that together. So I have the Raiders. Patriots at Jets. Now this is a tough game. That's a lie. I have the Jets. I know you don't have Breece Hall, which is huge, but I am interested to see what James Robinson looks like on this team. I am able. The defense is still really good. Zach Wilson. Now the Patriots. What is their defense? What is their offense going to look like? Honestly, with Mac Jones starting back, and it's not just. I'm not going to say it's a Mac Jones Bailey Zappi thing. It's just this offense hasn't really looked good all year. Maybe one game, and that's the Bailey Zappi when they put like 33 on somebody's head. But I have the Jets winning this. I think the Jets are, even with losing Breece Hall, which is huge, but getting James Robinson, which is big. I have the Jets. Steelers at Eagles. Let's talk about the Eagles getting Robert Quinn. To me, when you're in the position like the Eagles are, and when I say position, when you're in a position to win a Super Bowl, you go all in. You see teams like the Golden State Warriors. They feel like and a lot of people, including myself, feel like they could repeat. So they don't mind paying $500 million over the luxury tax, re-signing or extending Jordan Poole and extending Andrew Wiggins. You still have Steph Curry's contract. You still have Klay Thompson's contract. You still have Draymond Green's contract. Not to mention you have Kuminga and James Wiseman and Moody, and you don't mind spending that money because you understand that how much championships mean. And if you don't know, there was just I think a Forbes put out an article as the most profitable teams in the NBA, and number one now is Golden State. I think worth $7 billion. When we saw this with the Rams last year. They went all in. You get Von Miller, you have Jalen Ramsey, you get Odell Beckham Jr. Even though he got hurt in the Super Bowl, he was on his way to at least looks like winning Super Bowl MVP. The Eagles are in a position where this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. And why not bolster a team with a player that, while Robert Quinn has not had the best year this year, I don't know if it's due just because of him or the fact that he was playing on the Bears, but you get one of the, I think he had like 18 sacks last year. You get one of the best pass rushers in the league on a team that already has Hassan Reddick and Darius Slay, and it's, boy, Fletcher Cox. Like, look, this is a move that you make. Win now. Because I'll say this. If you don't win now, what does that say about this organization? What does that say about Jalen Hurts? What does that say about this team? You go out and get A.J. Brown, and that looks like a hit. You get Robert Quinn. You have all the names I just said. You have Devontae Smith. You still have Miles Sanders. And, of course, like I said, Jalen Hurts. What does that say? That you are currently 6-0, not saying that you're going to go undefeated. You could, but I don't know. I don't think you're going undefeated. You'll probably drop one here or there. But you're 6-0 currently. I have you winning against the Steelers, so I'm going to say 7-0. You go out and make all these moves, and you don't win. And what's even worse is look at the teams in the NFC East. What other team do you think, at least right now, can compete on a nightly basis, or can compete with the Saints? I mean, with the Eagles. The Rams. The one team that I think roster wise and talent wise can look eye to eye with the Eagles is the 49ers. And even I have the Eagles because I like Jalen Hurts more than I like Jimmy Garoppolo. But with the 49ers getting Christian McCaffrey, you still have Deebo Samuels, you still have all these pieces. That team and the Eagles are looking eye to eye, in my opinion. I mean, Green Bay is bad. The Bucks are bad. Who else? The Saints are bad. Like, maybe the Vikings, but no, roster-wise, no. Vikings maybe have really good players, but roster-wise, I don't think they have the same roster as the Eagles, especially talking about defensively. So getting Robert Quinn signifies that you're going for it. You're going for it now. And we'll just have to wait and see, you know. But it'll be crazy if they don't win a Super Bowl. If they don't, let alone, I'm not gonna say win the Super Bowl because they're still. I don't know how they fare against the Bills or the Chiefs, let this team not make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know, but on Sunday I do have them beating the Steelers. So, you have the Titans at Texans. Yeah, I have the Titans. The Texans are not a good team. Washington at Colts. I actually have Washington. You know, you have Sam Ehlinger starting. Matt Ryan is over with. I do understand that Sam Ehlinger does pose. He's more of his arm strength is a little stronger than Matt Ryan at this point. He's bigger than Matt Ryan, so he may be able to take more punishment. But I have the Commanders. They looked good on Sunday with Taylor Heineke. Now I understand. I know what Taylor Heineke looks like as you move further in the season. So we'll see. But I have the Commanders. Not to mention, hold on, where is Chase Young? I'm gonna just leave it at that. 49ers at Rams. I have the 49ers. They're just a better team. And I don't like the Rams offensively at all, even though they do have Cooper Kupp, and I don't like it. And, of course, I don't think that they're going to – I think that they brought Christian McCaffrey in for, like, red zone situations, and he's going to get big plays even though they don't need him for that as much. They just need him to get in the end zone, in the red zone. And I think that he'll probably play a big part this Sunday, him and Debo. So I have the 49ers. Giants at Seahawks. I have the Giants. The only reason why I have the Giants is because the Seahawks defense is still not good. The offense is good, but the Seahawks defense is not good. And when you have Saquon Barkley humming like he's humming right now, I have the Giants winning this one and going to 7-1, which is crazy. So Green Bay, Sunday Night Football, Green Bay will be at the Bills. And I think this is the first time in Aaron Rodgers' career that he's going in as a double-digit underdog, and rightfully so. I think that this is going to get ugly. Now, it could. I'm not going to say get ugly. I don't see the Packers winning this game. But the defense that was touted as one of, if not the best defense coming into this season, could rise up and be better than what's expected. But the Bills are going to destroy the Packers, bro. And Monday Night Football, we talked about the Bengals. I just think the Bengals are still going to win because I don't like what I've seen from the Browns at all. this entire season. It has not been good in the slightest, in my opinion. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you on Sunday. So, and Monday. So let's move forward. Okay. So the Brooklyn Nets are struggling. We're going to talk about another team that's struggling a little bit later, but the Brooklyn Nets are struggling, and what's being highlighted a lot is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons currently is averaging 5.6 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 6.8 assists. In his in every game this year, I'll just give you his point totals: 7, 4, 7, 6, and 4. That's the entire game. That's not like a quarter or a half. 14. They've lost 3 straight. I think they're 1-4. Yeah. The issues that Brooklyn has is not all on Ben Simmons. Let me first get out the way. This defense is terrible. They're not good as a defensive team at all. They are not a good rebounding team in the slightest. I think every game that they've lost, they've been out rebounded as a team, and thoroughly out rebounded. And this team only has 2 players, which is Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, that can put the ball on the ground and get their own shot. Effectively get their own shot. So it's not just Ben Simmons' lack of offensive output that's the reason that the Nets are currently 1-4. But Ben Simmons' lack of offense is drastically hurting the Nets, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not the fact that, he doesn't shoot or he doesn't make shots. It's the fact that he doesn't shoot shots. Here's the thing. Tim Legler said this, and for people that didn't watch it from Tim Legler, I'll reiterate it. And I'll reiterate how Ben Simmons' lack of offensive aggression is hurting this team. And you look at today's NBA, when you're a primary ball handler, right? Steph Curry's, Luka Doncic. In today's game, you have to be it's okay to be a facilitator. It's okay to be a defender, but if you're going to be the primary ball handler or the point guard, you have to be able to make the defense fear that you can get a bucket. For instance, people are going to say, well, what about Draymond Green? I'm glad you said that. Draymond Green is playing alongside the greatest shooter of all time, arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time, and Jordan Poole. Those 3 alone can give you 45, 50 a night. And yes, I think Jordan Poole can give you 50 on any given night. So no, you don't have to do much. Also, Draymond Green affects the game in a lot of other ways when we talk about assisting, when we talk about defense. I just think for that team, he's very specific and he's very important for that team. I don't know if what Draymond Green does is able to, would be as effective if he played for, I don't know, Boston. And that's a good team. Or if he played for the Raptors or something. But what Draymond Green does is efficient here on Golden State because that's just how they built the team. If you're Ben Simmons and you bring up the ball or you're primary ball handler, the time that you have the ball and not doing anything with it, dribble handoffs or just a pass that doesn't lead to an assist, you're essentially milking the clock. So that when you do give it to your offensive weapons like a Kevin Durant, like a Kyrie Irving, they don't have as much time on the clock, so they have to put up bad shots because you are not an offensive threat. It's not because you can't be, because we've seen the Philadelphia 76ers Ben Simmons clip going around social media where he was yamming it on people. But that Ben Simmons is not this. This Ben Simmons is hurting the team because your non-aggression is it's hurting the team. It's putting them in a position where once Kyrie gets the ball or once KD gets the ball, 4 or 5 seconds are already off the clock. Maybe even 8. And at that point, what are you doing? What offense can you run? Again, it's not all on Ben Simmons. But, and here's Kyrie Irving said, he hasn't played in 2 years. You pretty much wanted to say get off his dick. Like I give him a break. I know Kyrie. I know. Here's my frustration with Ben Simmons. Let me read something. I'm gonna read something about Ben Simmons that I pulled up. Strengths and weaknesses. Strength. Physical specimen. Strength. Ball handling. Strength. Ability to see the floor to get good assists. Strength. Able to use his physical ability to get to the rim with ease. With physical ability, in parentheses, height and speed. I agree with all those strengths. Those are all Ben Simmons. Strength. Has the ability to control the game with his physical attributes. I agree with that. Weaknesses. Lack of shooting. Inconsistent shooting. Those are 2. Can seem disinterested and mentally go in and out of games. Reluctant to shoot. Can be standoffish to teammates. All that is Ben Simmons, right? All that is Ben Simmons right now. The Ben Simmons that we've seen, all that is Ben Simmons right now. The problem is that is his college scouting report. His college scouting report. The same Ben Simmons that we saw in college is the same Ben Simmons that we're seeing now. It's just he's not playing in the league. He's not playing with that good player, or he's not playing against that good player, so he's not going to shine. Like, now, yes, I understand that he was an all-star in Philly and everything, but this isn't Philly. This is now. And now Ben Simmons is not. Let me see something. In Philadelphia, regular season averages. He averaged 15.8, 16.9, 16.4, 14.3, and now he's currently averaging 5.6. So, of course, those are all-star numbers, but if I know I'm not good at something, and I know that like my job, like my livelihood depends on it, I'm going to practice that. It's not the fact that he's reluctant to shoot and can't shoot. Nobody's upset that he can't shoot. What they're upset is the fact is you have not been able to shoot since college, and you still, like, what are you working on, bro? What are you working on? Man, Ben Simmons ain't that good, bro. And I man. And I'm not going to say he's not that good. That's disrespectful to his skills. But Ben Simmons should be a lot better than he is. With the physical traits that he has, he should be a lot better, and it just doesn't seem like he will ever get there. Let's move forward. Before we go, because I was going to talk about Alabama, but we know they're making the college football playoffs. I don't know if people remember. You can go back and look. Appreciate if you subscribe to the Unpopular Podcast YouTube channel. I said I had a dark horse. You know, I gave my dark horse predictions about who would make it to the NBA Finals. And I said it would be the Philadelphia 76ers and the Denver Nuggets. And I also had Joel Embiid winning the MVP. With that being said, with a few games in, I can honestly say I think that the Philadelphia 76ers have been the most disappointing team in the league so far. Currently sitting at 1-4. When you look at this team has absolutely no cohesion. It's either James Harden taking the ball, dribbling, trying to get his points, or okay, I take my now Tyrese Maxey, you take turns. Joel Embiid doesn't look like he came into this season in basketball shape. Not saying he's overweight, but conditioning. Some of the times he gets past half court. Some of the times he doesn't. Defensively, this team has been horrible. And one of the biggest reasons why I said that this is one of the most biggest disappointments is because a lot of the things a new team struggles with, they struggle with cohesion, learning each other and figuring out what they're going to do and learning where Joel Embiid likes the ball so James Harden get him, or learning where James Harden's going to be, or having that chemistry, having that symmetry with each other. That's what new teams struggle with, which they're struggling with. The problem is this is not a new team. They were here last year. Yeah, you get P.J. Tucker, but P.J. Tucker doesn't change the complete dynamics of this team. Like, what the hell is going on with Tobias Harris? What the hell is going on with Matisse Thybulle, who's played like 5 minutes this entire season? James Harden's getting his numbers, but they don't. Again, numbers do not tell the whole story. This Philadelphia team looks bad. Now, of course, you can turn around. There's only 5 games in, but defensively, Joel Embiid looks disinterested. Offensively, he looks disinterested. James Harden looks like he's on a mission to get his. And Tyrese Maxey is just like, hey, I'll get mine when I get mine. It just feels like 3 good players on a team, or 3 good players playing together. And Joel Embiid is just like, he just seems disinterested. Again, I said that this is one of the biggest disappointments. Yes, they can change around. They can turn around. I mean, it's still early. It's hella early in the season. Only 5 games. But from what I've seen, boy, it's going to be a lot. Because, I mean, think about it. Who on this team? I'm looking at this team now. Jesus Christ, man. And I look at this team. Before the season, this looked like, I mean, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Montrezl Harrell and his energy, Tobias Harris, Daniel House, Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, Shake Milton, George Niang, Paul Reed, Matisse Thybulle, PJ Tucker. Like, that sounds like, oh, those are pretty good. That's a pretty good players. But this team, I don't know if it's good. I mean, I'm sure if anybody's going to fall on this sword, and if this isn't as a successful season as you hope, you know Doc Rivers is out of there. But this hasn't been good in the slightest, man. They have been my most disappointing team so far. And it's not even close. Again, I had this team going to the Super Bowl as a sleeper team to go to the championship. And I had Joel Embiid as my MVP for finishing runner-up last 2 years. But the way they playing, I don't see it, man, at all. And there you have it. That's been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, sweaty, hooded, whoa. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, sweater, hoodie, joggers, the link in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Go get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to whoever you're listening. Please subscribe to whoever you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. And until next time, much love.